Well, welcome back. Before the last break, we were talking to our distinguished guest about music and various aspects of Indian classical music. My question was, a good number of audience from our non-Asian community here come to watch and enjoy the evening of Indian classical music presentations. See, my question was, how do you communicate one thing, and how do they understand? I mean, they are there to enjoy the evening, see, then they go away. Do they really understand, or how to make them understand the intricacies of the ragas and the raginis?
Very good question. One thing I have to say on this, that Saudha is unique in this question in terms of developing a network of audience who can be the potential admirer of Indian classical music. Right. To make sure that your audience is not just becoming one-off audience.
Right.
So to get them, to make them regular audience, we do follow some strategies.
To get them addicted to Indian.
Addicted to Indian classical, yeah, that is. First of all, like I said, every time I am asked about Indian classical music or any, when I say, I have to clarify one thing as well. When I say Indian, that is Indian subcontinent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Yes. So Indian classical music has a global focus, and also as an art form, this is so rich that anybody can connect or engage into the phase of into different phase of Indian classical music, because it is a universal art form. But again, what we are doing, because we feel the need to make Indian classical music more accessible to ordinary audience. Like I said, that obviously Indian classical music is to be kept in this country. That is for sure. If you go to Royal Albert Hall when the Indian classical music event happens, or sort of in South Bank or major art venues, you will see 90% audience are from non-Asian background. So that shows how they admire Indian classical music, how they like Indian classical music, and that figure is expanding gradually. Not just staying in a constant figure.
Who would you blame or give the credit for that?
Well, the journey started from Ravi Shankar and Uday Shankar. Uday Shankar played a great role, and then Ravi Shankar played a great role. And I would credit Indian classical music itself.
You mentioned Yehudi Menuhin, and I think Ravi Shankar and Yehudi Menuhin both combined together.
Both combined together, and then it was such a great art form. Even though you do, when you do any art form, when you are engaged into any art form, you don't have to understand everything actually, because art form has got a sense of ambiguity as well, artistic ambiguity. Like even Yehudi Menuhin said about Ali Akbar Khan's music, that when I listen to Ali Akbar Khan, I understand about 70% of his music, and 30% is artistic ambiguity. That makes me to listen to him again and again and again and explore. So that is the definition of art form as well, because once you understand this.
Abstract art, abstract music?
Abstract, yeah. Music is, all art form has got some sort of abstract senses, abstract meaning into this. Probably you can remember William Hogarth, a 16th century's great aesthetician who was giving, who actually defined 6 principles of beauty. And then he said, any beautiful things, any beautiful artwork has to be simple, but again intricate. Again, abstractness has to be within that art form, because if it is not abstract, if it doesn't raise any query, provoke any query, then it ends, it finishes. You are not going to listen again. But because this is abstract, because that provokes you to explore more and more and
listen
more,
to it again
and you
and
are in a
again.
journey. Because you are addicted to the melody, you can't help without listening, and then you are in a journey to explore more and more. That gave the Indian classical music an immortality. Immortality. That is why it will be immortal art form like all other art forms. So what we do, because Saudha is trying to develop, like we always said, that is develop a wonderful communication for the ordinary audience, so that they.
You were talking about the workshops.
Yeah, we should, so that it shouldn't be stereotyped that Indian classical music is for some intellectuals, for some people who are technically rich, technically knowledgeable person. So that's why we just try to, first of all, we try to invite all leading musicians who have a significant journey in the music, because Indian classical music is not, is not just for the average performers. It is such a great art form. It has to be performed by trustworthy and then quite intelligent performers. So we try to invite all leading performers, and then so that any audience, when they listen to this, they go back, they go home with a huge, beautiful impact in their mind that provokes them to come back again. And then we try to, like I said before, we try to communicate through poetry, a seamless amalgamation with music, with poetry, and with Kathak dance, for example. Kathak dance giving a visual interpretation of what is happening in the music. Poetry from Rumi, from Keats, from Shelley is giving you a huge poetic images of the music. So people can decode, people who have a significant journey in probably other art form, they, because of its art form is like a painting, like you are painting something. Yahud Manohin, you mentioned about Yahud Manohin. Yahud Manohin was asked, because Yahud Manohin used to play closing his eyes, and then he was asked, what do you think when you close your eyes and play? And then he said, I just try to paint some faces, paint something. So music is, a musician is also a painter. All artist is also, also somehow a painter. So that kind of images we just try to interpret, musical images we try to interpret through the poetry, through other form of art. So people find it more accessible. That's why we say that, Saudha, unlike other organizations, delving into a hypnotic presentation of Indian classical music, so that everybody find this art form more accessible, more understandable. And then we organize somehow. We organize before every event. We try to organize some workshops run by leading musicians, so that audience can have a direct interaction. And then
you organized, I think earlier in March, a 2-day Ghazal, Thumri and Khayal festival.
Yes.
Yeah,
3-day festival.
On 5th, 12th and 13th March.
Quite fortunate.
I wasn't here, so I missed it. Well, somewhere on your website it said hypnotic performance of classical, semi-classical music. See.
Yeah. Who
were the performers?
It was 3-day festival, Ghazal, Thumri and Khayal festival, and quite fortunately, Guardian says Rhapsody of Soul. These performances are dubbed by major media as Rhapsody of Soul. Some say seraphic ecstasy of Indian ragas. Anyway, so first day we tried to.
Is it because they didn't understand, or is it because they understood?
They understood the poetic side of this. They understand the, although they know that there will be some artistic ambiguity, but artistic ambiguity, like I said again, provoke more quest to explore more about it. Anyway, so first day we tried to present the Carnatic, because Indian classical music is sort of divided into 2 different sections, Hindustani classical and then Carnatic classical music. So we tried to present Carnatic music by one of the great performer, Manirama Prasad ji, and then she was accompanied by a great violinist, a wonderful violin player, Balaji, and then M Balachand ji in Mridangam. And then a young, talented singer, Sayan Gupta, did give a glimpse of ghazal as well. And then on 12th of March, in Modern Assembly Hall, we tried to give a experimental rendition of Hindustani classical music, and that was led by one of the finest Indian classical.
May I ask you, what are your future plans?
Our future plan, yes. I mean, through those events, we try to, like I said, Saudha is different from other organizations because we organize events for with a vision. If you just give me just 2 seconds to finish about our old musicians. So, Modern Assembly Hall, Chandraji sang, and then Kamalbir ji, who was a panel violinist of Jagjit Singh, Chandraji, and then a great tabla player, Sanju Sahai ji, accompanied Chandra Chakraborty, and then Eric Shilanda, like you saw in that clip, interpreted the musical emotion through the poetry. And Shoumi Das was giving a visual interpretation through Kathak dance. And in Rich Mix, a highly talented sitarist, Rupa Panisarji, also performed in Rich Mix. And then a torchbearer of Kirana Gharana, Sandhita Nandiji, performed after her, was a vocalist. She was a Hindustani classical vocalist. What is our vision? Vision is to...
Before that vision, see, let me ask you. Somewhere on your website, very well written and very, it seems like a copywriter has written your website. I'll have an issue on that.
Thank you very much, anyway.
But how is it possible for somebody, an ordinary person, to get to listen to, let's call it subcontinental classical music and appreciate it? I mean, is there a primer for that? Is there a how-to book for that?
How to be an admirer of Indian classical music, is that what you asked? This is, again, I mean, although we are saying that we are trying to make Indian classical music more accessible, but we are not saying that hugely accessible.
Okay. Now your future plans, because we don't have time.
Right, okay. Our future plan is to connect, like I said, we are in a campaign of creating new audience, so is to connect every event we review actually. After the event finishes, we review, and then we try to do the further strategies, how to connect more audience, and how to make Indian classical music more accessible to Western audience. And then
what do you have for 2016?
2016 is we will be performing in some major art venues. We have been invited to perform in Edinburgh Art Festival, which we see as a very positive responses from major art venues, like I said. And then we are performing in Royal Albert Hall this year, which is something we are looking forward to. And then we also will try to, that is in our plan as well, to visit and tour India and Bangladesh as well with the new kind of presentation that we develop, and then make it more popular. Because I said that we are trying to break the barrier through amalgamating with other form of arts. So that new presentation, we are trying to make it popular as many ways it is possible. So we will tour the whole, Saudha performs every almost all big cities of this country. And then, next year we will try to connect, subcontinental.
Thank you very much for giving us the time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Talking to you, having you on the show. Thank you, viewers. We hope that you have enjoyed the show as much as we have, and that with all the good wishes for the lovers of Indian classical music, we hope the journey will go on. Thank you. Next week, with another distinguished guest, we'll be here again.
Thank you very much for inviting me in this great show.
Thank you.